And welcome back to the Kenny and JT show here on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Thanks for being with us. And we got some exciting news yesterday. We all knew that the NFL draft was coming to Cleveland in 2021, but we were all wondering, is it still going to actually happen because of the pandemic? And joining us right now to explain all the good news about this is the president and CEO of the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, David Gilbert. And David, we got some great news yesterday. Share it with our viewers who are watching on Facebook right now and our listeners who are tuned into WHBC about this with the NFL draft.
Sure thing, Kenny, and thanks for having me. The long and short of it to start is, really officially unveiling that the draft we all knew was coming to Cleveland, but it is going to be live. It is going to be large. It's going to be done in a healthy way. But there's been a lot of planning, really all along planning for a live draft in Cleveland. But obviously, a lot of collective breath holding while we're waiting to see what happens with the pandemic. And through all the planning, we are all systems go, and it's going to be awfully exciting.
Yeah, we're looking at April 29th, April 30th, May 1st, a 3-day event. So share again with our listeners where this is all going to take place over those 3 days, outdoor, indoor. Are there going to be fan interactive, activities and things like that?
Well, so the great news is that all along the site that was chosen was utilizing a huge chunk of the downtown lakefront in Cleveland, and it's really the area. Utilizing First Energy Stadium on the field, the whole large area north of it and west of it, where there's parking all around North Coast Harbor, including Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Great Lakes Science Center. So, we were fortunate from the beginning to have this really iconic site that was very large and outdoors. Little did we know with the pandemic how important it would be to have such a great outdoor site from a health and safety standpoint.
Right.
So, the draft is there's really two overall significant components. One is the whole draft experience, which is almost a huge outdoor NFL playground, if you will, and lots of exhibits and things to do in interactive areas. It's all free. Everything for the draft is free. And while we know the crowds in person won't be as large as they otherwise would have been, having this huge, large site and adding time ticketing, which hadn't been done ever before, where you can control the numbers of people in and out, will allow still for tens of thousands of people through the days to be through there. Then, of course, you have the main draft stage, which is almost a small city that's built. That's the center of the draft activity, where the picks are and the TV studios are, all that kind of stuff. In front of that, we'll have smaller crowds. Hasn't been determined exactly the numbers. The NFL is still working directly with CDC and the states, and to get all, and it'll all be figured out in the next couple of weeks and finalized. And those will be smaller crowds, but still look a lot bigger than they might have been thinking 90 days ago, 120 days ago. Last year, 55 million people watched the draft from around the country, around the world. So in addition to still having large crowds from Northeast Ohio, people coming in from around the region, around the country, we're still going to have, it's going to be such a boost to Cleveland and Northeast Ohio in terms of the world watching what a great city we are and how great we are at putting on these kinds of events.
All right. So First Energy Stadium, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Science Center, right? Those are going to be three of the main components.
And all the areas outside around it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So that's happening. David Gilbert is our guest, president, CEO of the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, talking about the NFL draft. Yes, it's coming to Cleveland. It was scheduled to. It is coming. We keep our fingers crossed between now and then. We have no setbacks or anything like that. But for people that are wondering, like myself, I'm a germaphobe, David. All right. So if I were to come to this thing as a media member, or, if I was one of the lucky fans to get in there, what safety precautions will be taken, even though we've got the vaccinations happening and the masks and all that. What other safety precautions will be taken?
Yeah, I think so. With the NFL experience, one, as opposed to a free for all, for any of you watched a couple of years ago, the last live non-virtual draft in Nashville, it's up lower Broadway, estimated 100 to 150,000 people, elbow to elbow.
Right.
So it's not going to be that. This year it's going to be barricaded off. So you have a certain time you sign up for, you get a wristband. So one, all with CDC guidance, only having a certain number of people in to stay distance, having to have your masks on, hundreds of people around, making sure that happens. I mean, think about the fact that Disney, Universal Studios have managed to do this successfully and safely. The NFL managed easily, the Browns and other teams, 12,000 people in the stadium, done safely. Similar types of things. You're not going to be able to walk around just holding a beer. Eating and drinking wherever your mask down will be in a separate area. But thankfully, the way, especially in Ohio, the way we're going, within a couple of weeks, everybody will be eligible for a vaccination.
Right.
Then, of course, even more so in and around the draft stage area, the concerts, they're figuring out the details, but you will have had to be vaccinated. So even more so that that not only will you be spaced, but it's because it's a more fixed area. They'll know that all the people around you, including whoever's in there, will have had to be vaccinated. So we feel good that and especially with it being the NFL, who so successfully put on an entire season around the heart of a pandemic, which is an amazing feat, that they're the ones with the CDC and the state, creating those efforts on what should happen, should make everybody feel a lot more at ease.
All right. For people out there that are listening to this or watching this right now, they're saying, well, I want to go.
Yes.
I want to get a ticket. I want to be involved with this. It's the first time ever that the draft's being held in Cleveland. So is there a lottery? Is there a website? How do they go about trying to get tickets for this event?
So everything will be through the NFL's One Pass app. And so what people can do right now is go to nfl.com/draft.
Okay.
And they would download the app and they would create an account. And what will happen is that website will have all the most current information, but they will then also be pushed the information. It's anticipated somewhere around the end of the month. Through the app will go live where you can reserve your tickets for one of the 3 days. And that'll be for the easier to get in will be for the entire draft experience. And then all smaller numbers, and that'll be determined to be right by the draft stage. The other thing I'd say, Kenny, is for people who are coming in around it, we're also doing a lot to transform all of downtown Cleveland, to emulate a lot of that excitement with, what bars and restaurants are doing to make themselves draft central. Again, all according to health and safety standards. And outdoor dining, all that kind of stuff. But the signage, it's just going to be a real electric feel. And so there'll be a lot for people to do. And maybe it'll be a good time for people to celebrate. You know what? I've been cooped up for an entire year. This might be the first time, especially because it's outdoors, I can go outside and be part of this. And we know already people are scooping up hotel rooms. People are going to be traveling from all, we're within an 8-hour drive of half the NFL markets. So, this event has really become sort of a pilgrimage of sorts for NFL fans, and we're excited we'll be at the center.
Is there a projection as to how much money the city of Cleveland, the state of Northeast Ohio, will make off of this major event? Because that's what you guys do with the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission. I know you guys had to do the awards show this year, right? On TV. We had to do the same with our high school awards. It had to be virtual and everything. So a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but this is going to be the biggest event maybe in a year that we've seen. So what are the projections? Do you have any idea?
Prior to COVID, amazingly, the draft had gotten to a point where the economic impact from spending of visitors, production, outside spending in the community topped well over $100 million in Nashville. And that's what we would have expected. It's hard to say now. It certainly will not be that. It will be clearly tens and tens of millions. but it's hard to say, yeah, we're going to have a full economic impact study done. We're going to, be doing a lot of the research over that weekend to best determine how many people, what percentage of people are from out of market. But clearly it will still be tens of millions of dollars. And interestingly enough, we've had a lot of people tell us from hotels, restaurants, and others said, you know what, even though it's less comparatively for the true impact of it based on where our economy is and where these small businesses are due to COVID, it may ultimately have been a blessing that it's even more impactful on a comparative basis, because it could be the thing that not only jumpstarts that part of the economy in Cleveland and a lot of ways Northeast Ohio, but saves a lot of these businesses who've been hanging on by a thread through COVID to make it through to the other side.
All right, and again, we're happy to have David Gilbert with us, President, CEO, Greater Cleveland Sports Commission. Stark County Pro Football Hall of Fame. I know, there was that one bid where it was Cleveland and Canton going together. This one was separate. It was Cleveland, but we're hearing in some capacity Canton, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is going to be involved. Do you know any of the details of that at this time?
Yes, I have to tell you, we have a wonderful partnership with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They've been at the table in so much of the planning, because here's the thing, this is going to be, even now, thankfully, the kind of thing, again, where NFL fans are going to be coming from all over. And we're so lucky in Northeast Ohio, if they're going to come here and spend time with the draft, they're also going to make their trip down to Canton. So we're doing everything we can to make sure, as part of all of our information, when people are planning their trip, that they need to hop on 77 and get down to the Hall of Fame. And that should be part of their experience, as part of what's going to make coming to the draft in Northeast Ohio special, and something that they just can't do if the draft were anywhere else. So and then every year the draft, or the Hall of Fame, also has exhibits, and they're very much a part of the NFL experience. So there's a whole Hall of Fame exhibit. Cool as well. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is going to be unveiling a special exhibit on NFL halftime shows. So it's really cool too that even other people are getting into the act, so to speak, so that when people are coming here, it's not just, hey, I'm going to spend a day at the draft. I'm going to spend a long weekend in Northeast Ohio and get my fill of so much around my love of football.
All right, you mentioned the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I hear there are going to be concerts, involved with this over the 3-day period. When do we find out what those acts are, and how can people, get an opportunity to check out those concerts?
So we're getting close.
Okay.
Again, I say the NFL does a great job of tying the community and the essence of that community into the draft. And clearly for us, rock and roll is huge. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has been great in helping. And it will be some real name acts that will be here. A lot of the details are being finalized. Again, in the next few weeks, all that will come out. And all those who are lucky enough to be part, all that will be free also. And that'll all be part of getting on that OnePass app. And the good news is the stage is so big that even if you aren't lucky enough to be one of whatever number it is directly in around the stage, there's going to be other parts of downtown Cleveland throughout the NFL draft experience that you're still going to be able to see and listen to the concert of, some big names playing for free. So, and the concerts will take place each night of the draft.
Wow. Well, let us know when you get those bands, because we want to spread the word on that. I know a lot of people want that information. And last thing before we let you go, everybody listen to this, a lot of information you and I talked about here. Best places to go so they can view the information on their phone, on their iPad, on their laptop, whatever it is. Websites, or where's the best place to go to get information? Number one place, NFL.com/draft. They can also go onto our website, clevelandsports.org, and there's a lot of links there to visitor sites. So even more information on where to go, what to do. Those links are also on the NFL site. So it's not only, hey, every detail of the draft itself, but also, hey, if you're going to be here, if you're going to spend a day, if you're going to spend a weekend, lots of other thoughts and ideas of where to go, what to do, hotels, everything. David, thanks so much. I know you're a busy guy. This is great news, though, as you told me as we started this interview. It's a good kind of busy. Congratulations. Fingers are crossed on this. And let's talk again soon as we get closer to the draft. All right?
You got it, Kenny. And thanks to you as well.
Thanks so much. David Gilbert checking in with us here on the Kenny and JT show. We'll get a break in right now. We'll come back with more. Stay with us.